legacy, legacy. I'm done leaving liabilities. I'm creating new possibilities. Multiply her, this is who we're meant to be. Legacy, legacy, legacy. I'm building something they can hold on to. From faith to family, purpose and prosperity.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Legacy Discussions podcast, where we leave legacies and not liabilities. I am your host, Taisha Beard, and today with me is Miss Shauna D. Banks. She is a dedicated public servant, business leader, and community advocate with a passion for education, economic development, and empowering others. She currently serves as a work-based learning coordinator for the East Baton Rouge Parish School System, connecting students to career exploration, workforce opportunities, and pathways to future success. Shauna served the citizens of Baton Rouge for 12 years as the elected Metro Council member for District 2, championing initiatives focused on community development, economic growth, education, and quality of life improvements. She is the CEO of Stratagems Consulting LLC, a strategic planning and consulting firm specializing in public, private, and community partnerships, nonprofit development, workforce initiatives, and social impact strategies. She is also the founder of the Black Business Insiders Network and the Black Business Insiders Expo and Convention, which is a premier platform designed to connect entrepreneurs, corporations, nonprofit organizations, government agencies, and consumers through networking, education, and commerce. Woo, that was a mouthful, Shauna. How are you today?
I am doing excellent. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Yes.
So I just gave a mouthful about your bio, and I'm sure that's only a fraction of who you really are. So tell the world who Shauna Banks is.
Well, I am really, I would say, someone that has evolved in almost 65 years of life. And so, for when I talk about foundationally, I am a Scotlandville native, 3 generations, having both sets of my grandparents living in Scotlandville well into their 30s, into my 30s. What I think the part of me that has kind of grown me into leadership is that both my parents were the oldest of their siblings. My mother, the oldest of 12, my father, the oldest of 3. They were also the first generation college students on both sides. So innately, I would think that I had leadership skills that I did not even know were possible. And because of that, I think, as you say, when it talks about legacy, I am someone that want to kind of perpetrate, if you will, the legacy of my grandparents, my parents, myself, into other generations.
Yeah.
And I feel that I'm a late bloomer, and I really think it's important that I spend this last season of my life pouring into other people.
Yeah.
I want to die empty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard Miles Monroe say something like that.
Yes.
He said most people want to die filled. He said, but if you die filled or full, then that means you never gave
Exactly.
what you needed to give, and you
Yes.
want to make sure that you die empty because you poured out so much.
Amen.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So you have moved through public office,
Yes.
education, and business leadership, not just for the titles, but as a real commitment to the people. Like, what is your through line that connects all of this together?
Again, I did not have a realization as things were progressing.
Yeah.
As it relates to the world of education, both my parents were educators. But upon the time that I graduated from high school, first of all, I did live in what would have been called middle class.
Okay.
I did go to private school. I did not know people did anything other than college because that's what my parents did, right? And so, but my parents told me I could not be an educator. They said there's no money in it. And I graduated during the time where tech was coming alive, computer science, accounting, business. And my worst subject is math. And so I did measure in what I thought was the least of the evils. But what I realized more so is that my passion was in mental health. My passion was in servanthood. So I had an opportunity to go back to school in mental health counseling. That's what happened for me to get into the school system. Social services, child protection investigator, parent liaison. Now I'm the work-based learning coordinator. And what all those things, what I would say is that when you first branch out into professional, it's based on meeting a need. It's based on career. But I think that in the totality of being able to evolve, the second part of your life is based on calling, based on purpose, based on fulfillment. I know you've mentioned so many times that you've had all these years in corporate America.
Yeah.
But after a while, now you've transitioned into meeting what Taisha wants to do,
Yeah.
to be whole, to be purposeful.
Yeah.
And that is so satisfying. And so again, kudos to you who learned that and was interested in making that dive early in life so your children will see that.
Yeah.
I grew up in generation, you go and you get a job for 30 years,
Yeah.
and you retire. So being able to cross-section persons of my era and before, and younger persons, millennials, is something that I'm glad I'm able to grasp both and bring it to some connectivity.
Yeah. Yeah, that is good because that's what most of us were taught.
Yes.
Even, at the age of 44, almost 45, when I was younger, that's what I was
Yeah.
taught. You put your head down, you go to work, you find a good paying job,
That's
you
right.
get your retirement and your benefits, and you
Exactly.
stay there until
That's right.
it's retirement age.
Yes.
I think the generations that we're seeing now
Mhm.
understand that doesn't have to be their reality anymore.
Exactly.
I think there should be some form of employee at some point, being an employee for
Of
someone, because
course.
I think you start to learn
Yes.
how to do good business and what that looks like. And I think if you be a good employee
You'll be
for someone, then you
right.
can be a good business owner because
agree.
you're stewarding your
Yes.
time and your energy and your responsibilities to help that person's business.
That's
And
right.
so when you become a business owner, then
Mhm.
you get that same thing in return.
I agree.
So yeah, I love that part. So what is that one thing that is driving Shauna Banks that never changed, no matter what?
Yeah, I think it's the conversations that my parents taught me.
Yeah.
Though I went with what was considered middle school and private education and all of that, but it was the stories my parents told me of how they got there. I think so often when parents, I mean, every generation, every parent want their children to do better, but it's so important to teach those lessons of how did this happen. So I think it was the fact that I had parents who never let me forget the sacrifice.
Mm.
It was the stories of where that's why I didn't change. Also, I was 50 when I got into politics. So whatever I was going to be, I was virtually going to be. And I've never wanted a job in administration. I've never wanted to be the leader. I've never wanted to be the supervisor. And because of that, I got full enjoyment in seeing other people's success. And so it was literally a calling that I ran for public office. And at the time, I could not speak in public.
Mm.
I had zero confidence, as it relates to a leader. I always thought I was average. And I would tell my mother, I'm just average. And so I think that is what changed me, that I was already who I was going to be before I got in politics, because in that arena, it's very easy to forget who you are if you already don't have a foundation.
Right.
So I would say it would not do well based on what my parents had to go through, what my grandparents, for me to be anything other than authentic.
Yeah.
And again, we go back, we can't get away with legacy. I am representing their legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, what made you want to run for office? Because when I think of it, like, of course, I want to do some great things.
Yeah.
I want to get involved, but the idea of politics
Yeah.
scares the heck out of me
With
because
good
it seems
reason.
like it's a dog eat dog. Like,
With good reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what made you even want to do that?
Naivety. So again, I always read the paper. I always knew who my political leaders were. My father was in that generation of first black elected official that he worked on their campaign. So I knew about all of that. However, I did not know that the representation extended outside of the community of Scotlandville.
Okay.
So what I saw is an opportunity with the previous council member term limiting. And I'm thinking, I've seen the transition of Scotlandville where it was prosperous, where it was our area of Black Mecca, if you will. Southern University, Airport, Howell Place, middle class subdivisions, and I see this decline. I see where I-10 North has literally killed the corridor. So I'm thinking this is my opportunity to save Scotlandville. So that's all I knew. It was scary. I went to talk to my pastor. He said, I can see you do that. So, if your pastor said it's good. But then, even then, I remember an altar call. And during the altar call, I went up for prayer because it was scary, and God said, "I'm going to make an anomaly of you."
Mm.
And no, He didn't. He didn't say, "I'm going to make an." He said, "I'm going to make a spectacle of you." And if you know what your parents told you about being a spectacle, don't make a fool of yourself.
Right.
Don't go out making a spectacle. So I don't hear the rest of the sermon that day because I'm thinking, I thought God loved me. Why would He want to make a spectacle of me? Why would He make a fool of me? And on my way home, I Google spectacle and it means an unusual occurrence.
Mm.
And so every time there was a trial or tribulation, and there were many, I always went back to this is part of being a spectacle. So whenever there was a news article, be it positive or negative, I saw this as being a part of a spectacle. Anytime there was a disruption that I was responsible for, that was part of being a spectacle because it was not known. And because I had that foundation, because sometimes all you need is a one word from the Lord.
Right.
It takes you on that whole trajectory where as time go by, the opinions of men fall off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say I never sought office. It was a calling. And if it had not been the Lord, not meaning as a cliche, where would I be?
Yeah.
Because it was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you regret it?
Not at all, because it wasn't for me, and it's not for me.
Yeah.
And this is something that is so hard, something that needs to be taught to both residents, voters, is that when people offer themselves up for service, if there is any time to be selfish, it should be when you are choosing a candidate. People choose candidates because they think they vote for candidates because that's someone who they like,
Mm-hmm.
who came to their church, who you're related to, what sorority, all the things that are outside of why you should vote, or party, or race, or sex. You're supposed to vote for what can you do for me?
Yeah.
And we never think that. So we think it's a social club. And so when we vote for persons based on those very shallow opportunities or desires, we get what we vote for.
Right.
So you get nothing because you asked for nothing. You went in with all kind of superficial ideas, like you helping them run for a pageant, where you are actually supposed to be voting for people who will serve your daily interests,
Yeah.
your community interests, your business interests. And so until we get that right, we are ruining our elected officials because they don't feel any accountability and we're getting nothing.
Yeah. I think what you said about not looking at it in terms of, who you're related to, who your mama voting for, all these things, but to really be selfish for that
Yeah,
moment and said, how can this help me? How can this person help me?
exactly.
One thing that I have learned over the years is you're right about that, and that's how I look at when I'm voting now.
Hmm.
I hear what everybody's saying, but then I go in that booth and I make my own decision,
Yeah.
right? I even took my kids in this time. And I said,
That's
hey, I
powerful.
said, I want y'all to understand the why I'm
Hmm.
voting like this. I said, you may want to vote differently,
Right.
but that is your decision when it's your turn to come into this booth, but you got to make it to the booth. You
That's
got to
right.
get
You
in
got to
there.
get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had those conversations with them, but what I really learned is that you can vote for the president, you can
Hmm.
vote for all of these national positions, but what really matters to you and your business is
Yeah.
the local elections. Yeah.
All things are local.
Yeah.
All things are local. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. So you work directly with young people every day,
Hmm.
as a work-based learning coordinator, helping them see the futures that they may not even see for themselves.
Hmm.
What do you say to the student who is talented but has been told directly or indirectly that the path to success was not built for someone like them?
Yeah. So I work in alternative schools, and usually that alone has a taboo nature. Um, and it's the part of the school system that I love, because I like to work with underserved, whether it's community students or whatever. So I currently work at the school in EBR for overage students. So if a student comes to EBR at 11 years, 11 years old as a sixth grader,
Mm.
they're coming to my school 13, 14, 15, 16 as a sixth grader. So the idea of even graduating from high school seems so far off and impossible. And so working in that capacity, what you find is that first of all, if you didn't teach them whatever it is, you can't hold them responsible.
Mm.
And so often as a society, we assume that certain children or all children know better. All children know to go to bed at 9 or 10. All children have a place to sleep. All children have food. All children have a washing machine and a dryer. So when I deal with kids, I am fortunate that I deal with kids at the most basic needs.
Mm.
Because so though my title is a work-based learning coordinator, and certainly I provide opportunities for them to see career, college, business, entrepreneurship, nonprofit, all of that. I'm also the one that's making sure they have uniforms, begging people.
Mm.
I'll take their clothes home and wash them. I showed them how to iron, how to hang up. For prom, we have prom on campus so that they can wear and have a prom dress. Never had that. So that they can wear a tuxedo. I can't send these things home because some of them don't have a home.
Mm.
Or they'll leave school that day and there's an eviction notice. Or they don't know where it is. So for me, showing children things that other people take for granted is my mission. So when I hear of things in the community that I have been exposed to, I want them to go to it too. So if I'm on many of the lists for different events, and I always want my students, can my students go?
Yeah.
Even if they volunteer, if there's an event, that's going on, I volunteer my students to do 225 Fest or to do, when MAP come up, I'll invite them because they're at school and that's the only way they'll know it's going on.
Yeah.
So they're volunteer on a Friday, then the next thing you know, you see them there on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And they use it for their resumes.
Yeah. That's good. It's
Yeah.
exposing them to
It's
something.
exposing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, through Stratagems Consulting and the Black Business Insider Network, you are building infrastructure
Yes.
for Black economic power, not just inspiration,
Mhm.
but real systems. So, what is the honest truth about what it takes for a Black-owned business to not just survive, but to actually scale and sustain? And what do
Right.
you think is causing them to get stuck?
So again, during my time as a council person, I helped a lot of Black business, but of course I helped white businesses as well. And what I saw is the difference is that even as it relates to government, Government should not be the all sufficient God, you
Yeah.
know. I believe what T.D. Jakes says is that you should have three streams of income. Where not only should that be on an individual level, that should be with your business.
Mm.
So if you're a business owner, yes, you get that big $600,000 contract. Not with this city, but you know, you shouldn't get comfortable
Yeah.
because there's going to be an end to that, or there's going to be a change in administration. As we see, there's a shift
Right.
as it relates to DEI and DBEs. If you're black, you have to prove that you're disadvantaged. But however, we become so comfortable in that environment that we never branch out to self sufficiency
Yeah.
as it relates to you as a professional.
Yeah.
So I got to do government contract, and we should get that government contract. We're taxpayers. It is inequitable for us not to get contract, but you also need to be doing, as you teach, investing in a home, an apartment complex, a duplex. If you live at one home, you need to buy a second.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not speaking as a pro or someone that has done it, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
And I can't afford to wait until I've achieved all these things. Exposure makes it, even the exposure of coming to your first event. Had I not, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
And seeing so many, so first as a council member, I see that, but also how do you, through legacy, teach your children? So often I hear you talk about your children.
Yeah.
So your children also may need to have a little business.
Yes.
They need to be paid employees. And I learned these things from going to events like Multiply Her.
Yeah.
And so I can't afford to wait. Like nobody taught us. I saw people in my community prospers all the time, but they didn't tell anybody else.
Yeah.
And that's where I see a shift now, where as a consultant, I want people to know, if you're an individual, how do you navigate policy and procedures in government affairs? How to make your representatives accountable. They are not in an ivory tower. They are your servants. And you don't owe them nothing. They owe you everything.
Yeah.
How to make sure that if there is a black business that is doing something, everybody's supposed to know it.
Yeah.
You know, also learning those things about business, about nonprofit, because and the reason why I'm doing high and low, so I'm going from whether you are a CEO of a corporation, a Fortune 500 company, all the way to a small business, because there's so much of a disconnect.
There is.
As a council member, I see the millionaire blacks, but I also see how they have become so assimilated. They don't want to deal with anybody else, you know, other than person, because their whole existence depend on being part of that influence.
Right.
There are people that I helped that are now known, name, you know, they're on the front of magazines and everything, or they're on billboards. But I remember, I helped you get there.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking for it or anything. Those are seeds sown that only God's supposed. But I'm saying, you should always remember.
Yeah.
Somebody else, give them a hand, you know, even whether it's through information, whether it's through hiring, whether it's just sitting down at coffee, being a mentor.
Yeah.
And too often we forget that where much is given, much is required.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Something that you just made me think about when you said that, you know, yes, we want to get the government contracts, but we also want to become self-sufficient, because eventually those contracts run out. So we have to always be working toward the next contract or the next thing that's going to take us to that next level. That reminds me of, and I hope I don't get flack for this, but someone being on welfare that never wants to advance themselves because they're so comfortable getting the welfare.
Right.
So they know if they get a certain income limit, they get off of welfare. So they would rather stay in that safe space.
Yes.
opposed to advancing themselves. That kind of gives me that.
What
Yeah.
you're saying is basically, and it almost leads me to why I'm having the Black Business Insiders Expo and Convention. And again, I'm dealing with that population
Right.
all the time. But what a lot of people don't, and I think there's some mayor or somebody just got flagged for this in Louisiana, where it said that either SNAP or welfare is supposed to be temporary. It is.
It is.
It's supposed to be transitional.
Correct.
And so, but there are so many generations that have. My grandmother had Section 8. My mom had Section 8. So I'm supposed to get Section 8. But what they don't know is Section 8 is about to come to an end.
Please talk about that.
Yeah. So Congress has actually, and I'm not sure how far it's gone, where Section 8, they're going to be putting a year or 2 year or 3 year. That's why it's important to know about financial literacy.
Correct.
That's why it's important to know about first-time home buyers. Even if you're on Section 8 and you are, and I say fortunate enough to, because there's always a list, that is the greatest time for you to be working on your credit.
Yes.
That is the greatest time for you to learn about first-time home buyers.
Start saving your money.
Saving your money. Do it when you don't need it.
Correct.
Don't let them come and tell you. And then I don't want anything outside of me to dictate my life.
Correct.
I don't want to be telling somebody what my income is every month.
Right.
That's my business. But when you are dependent on government as a lifestyle, you have no privacy.
Right.
To your income, to your Social Security, to your children, to their dates of birth. Yes, use it for a minute. Yes. But always know you have an exit plan.
Correct.
And all of us need to, and for people, because a lot of it's really not because they don't want to. They've never seen it.
Right. They don't know how.
They don't know how.
Correct.
They don't know people do this. How would if I have never lived in anything but rentals, and I see people move every 30 days. They get evicted every 30 days. Somebody will take their $500 deposit, knowing they can't pay it because they had to piecemeal that, put them in $1,000 rental just to evict them in 30 days. And so you don't want you and your families to be dependent on a government that was never meant for you.
Yeah.
We talk about the Constitution. We were a chattel. We were a property. So anything that you want from government, make sure it's only 1/3 of your plan.
Yeah.
1/3 of your life, 1/3 of your money, 1/3 of your existence.
Right.
But you better have 2 more buckets.
You have to.
You have to. And so that's why it's important. And until we get into a place where the CEO of major corporations are reaching down and speaking in schools and telling the story of how they got over.
Yeah.
Kids will not think you talking to them.
Right.
Families will not think you talking to them. And just because you're poor don't mean you dumb.
Correct.
But opportunity. I never saw anything else.
Yeah. Oddly enough, there's somebody that made a comment to a post that I made, and it was talking about tax sales. And, we're all familiar with what happens with tax sales. You don't pay your taxes. It goes to a tax sale. Somebody buys it. In Louisiana, 3-year redemption period, the whole 9. But the person talking about that and said, oh, so you just stealing.
So I'm glad you talked about it.
Yes.
So again, first of all, if I knew what I learned as a councilwoman, I never would have ran for office. I would have went straight into business.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to land.
Yeah.
So in East Baton Rouge Parish, there are, on any given day, 6,000 adjudicated properties.
6,000.
6,000. Some of the legislation or policy that I put in place is, first of all, that we catalog it. There was nothing there. And I'm not sure, things change, but that the parish attorney, which is over in the tax sale of it, is sheriff. Adjudicated property is city parish and the parish attorney. So one is that it's cataloged, okay? And so that was one of the things. Most of them are because black people don't do wills.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do succession. They get into infighting on who's going to pay what. Somebody wants to sell, other people want to sell. One thing about white people, they will sell in a minute and start over. We hold on to stuff till there's nothing there. And we got to stop because you hold stuff tight. If you're not going to take care of it, sell it.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to take care of it,
Keep it.
that is wealth
Yes.
building.
Yes.
That is wealth building. But if you are not, and this does not have anything to do with rich or poor. I see rich people doing it. I see poor people doing it.
Yeah.
So I was probably the first council member that began having both the persons from the East Baton Rouge Sheriff Department and Parish Attorney come out, speak to the community, let them know how to get these properties. And so the numbers began to fall. And what the challenge, then and Tyra Wicker did one bill where it's called former Councilwoman Motor On. And so if you have property and the house or the property adjacent to you, that means directly next to you, behind you, either side, and it is adjudicated, and you've been the one cutting it because you don't want the snakes to come on your property, there are mechanisms within city parish where they will give it to you free.
Wait a minute. That's right now?
Right now.
Okay. Mark that. Yes.
Again,
Okay.
that's called mow to own. So I came back behind Tara and I started a program called In My Father's House.
Okay.
In My Father's House allows any nonprofit to be donated adjudicated property for public use.
For public use.
But what is public use? So now when I came up with that name, it was right after the flood in 2020. And I was thinking of churches.
Yeah.
So I'm riding around. Where do you see most blight in black communities?
In the what we call the hood.
And there's what is it probably on every block? A church.
That is a good point.
So
yeah.
So we're in a pandemic. No, it wasn't a flood. Flood was 2016.
16,
This
yeah.
is the pandemic. So nobody's going to church. Nobody's going to work. I'm thinking in the churches, the revenues are falling down. This is a way for churches to build up the community around them where they go into the city parish and they say, I would like these properties. I'm going to put them back into commerce. And every church got an electrician or whatever.
Somebody, a contractor,
real
flooring
estate,
guy,
flooring
HVAC.
guy.
Yeah.
They know how to do it all. You get your members together, one house at a time. You fix that house. You put Emily and her 3 children. Guess what? Emily and her 3 children are disciples. And they could walk to church. Now, one church took advantage, well, at the time. So they extended it to nonprofit. So I did add nonprofit.
Okay.
So you have a nonprofit, same thing. If there's adjudicated property in the city, go buy it. Go tell them, this is my property. I'm going to put a domestic violence survivor in it.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix it up. I'm going to put them in it. That's public use.
But they won't give you any funds. They would give you the deed.
But no. So you still have to go through. Adjudicated means you have access. You still got to get. That's another problem, a barrier. You still have to make sure the title. So when you're deciding, see what all is out there. If there's a 50 million heirs, unless you're willing to go through that and call them all, yeah. But if it's not a lot, then go for it. And the city also owns adjudicated property.
I'm aware of that, yeah.
If the city parish would begin, and they would, that same church or that same nonprofit, give them the funding to do it, at least the roof, at least the weatherization.
Right.
There's energy. That's money through energy. So if I tell you, if you have a nonprofit, you have this house, there's a roof project at the city, that should have you at the #1 list.
Correct.
There's energy weatherization program, I think it's through LHC, that you should automatically qualify as the refrigerator, as anything energy related.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars are left on the table. But because we don't have good leaders who really want to help disenfranchised communities, they're not going to work like that.
Yeah.
And because folks don't want to hear things that didn't come from themselves.
Yeah.
If I don't like you, I'm not going to take your idea, because now you're going to get some stroke.
Right.
So all of these are the barriers that our community faces, whether it's a Black Democrat or a white Republican. There's nothing, we're all so into being the head chief.
Yeah.
And the person that with the great ideas, that they're minimizing their community and not bringing them to the table.
You got my head spinning over here, because I'm thinking of all, like, what rooms I need to get into to have these conversations, because I know several properties, and I've been on that adjudicated website as well as the tax sale website. You're right, they're two different.
Right.
Now
the taxes is a little bit more complicated.
It is. Now I've done that before.
Yeah.
I went through that process where I've waited the 3-year redemption period, went through that process, got them. But I do want to get more into adjudicated. But I have a nonprofit as well that I am looking to do transitional housing, sober living homes, all of these things.
Exactly.
I was not aware of that. And that goes to show you that as much as I think I know, we don't know everything. So we got to make sure we're having conversations and sharing the knowledge, because even this right here, it helped me, and I'm sure it's going to help so many people as well. But my God, I didn't know that even existed.
And just think about if you go and you see some of the very rich people, they own all the even Hispanics now are onto adjudicated properties.
Yes.
You know, I went my last year on the council, and you know how very crafty they are as it relates to. So an adjudicated property came where a Hispanic guy came. It's in Scotlandville on the street that my grandmother grew up on, Cardinal Street. And I'm like, how did he even find it?
Yeah.
It's off the beaten path. It's a dead end. There are people who pick up our adjudicated properties who don't live here. They go to the website. They have enough money, sight unseen.
Yeah.
Sight unseen. So we have adjudicated where you put down, I think it was at one time it was $500, and you go to bid.
Yeah.
I purchased the home I live in over 30 years ago in Park Vista for $20,000 with a sheriff's sale. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to and now, it's probably maybe 200, 250, but it's because I put in a little bit at a time, But my whole thing is sheriff's sale, adjudicated property, what I just
foreclosure
said,
list.
Foreclosure, all of those. But these are the easy pickings. Foreclosure's a little bit more, and I haven't dabbed, but these are things to help the city prosper.
Correct.
If they really wanted to.
Correct.
If you really, really wanted to. We also there's property through Bill Baton Rouge, where in every disadvantaged communities, they have a land bank, which I think is a waste as well. You got me on here. But literally, all they have to do is get with a group of contractors.
Yeah.
This is our list. What would you take on, and how can we help you?
Correct. You
match that with OCD dollars.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. You put it back in. So now you got a homeowner. You got a bank loan. This is good. Low interest rate.
Yeah.
That's sustainability.
Agree.
It's not a rocket science. It's do you want it?
Do you want it? Yeah.
Do you really want? Because failure really is very prosperous for government.
Yeah.
It looks good for government to say we have 25% poverty, because I'm going to get a big government grant. And guess what? It ain't going to help that 25%. It's going to help something else where they redirected the funding.
You got my wheels turning over here. Okay, so last question for you, and then I want to talk about the Black Business Convention. So, when future generations look back at the body of work that you've done, the council seat, the classrooms, the network, the consulting firm, what do you hope the stories would be about you?
I really don't care. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I do know, every 10 years, people don't know what you did, you know. It's like the sense of, you're like, you know, I heard a name, I just saw on a billboard, but people don't know. Even when we go from elected official or, you know, there's so many changes, whether it's a school superintendent and the school board, whether it's government, you know, the state legislators, the council, whatever it is, there is no symmetry. Yeah. It's always, I want to start something new. And so when there have been years of systemic racism, prejudice, bias, you can't just do it for 12 years on the council. Yeah. And then the other person, their goal is to erase whatever you did. You wasting money. So so it's been 55 years of civil rights. We're dealing with the same 55 issues. Why? It's because we never ever stopped trying to do it our way. Yeah. And we never ever decide that there will not be another Martin, there will not be another Malcolm. Yeah. And even they got pushed back from their community, little known. So I literally am a woman of no reputation as far as I'm concerned. I want to hear well done, you know. The one thing that was always clear to me is that I was called to bring kingdom down into the earth. And a lot of time people think that when you're a believer, it means, hey, sister. It's not. It's warfare. Yeah. It's accountability. You know, anytime the cross was not pretty. Yeah. You know, there's no leader, whether it's Moses, Esther, Paul, that just was about, it was always warfare, and people don't want warfare. And so all of those things we're to a higher calling where most of us are very comfortable with pastors, but the foundation of any church and any system change has to be apostolic and prophetic. And then the only way, and so that's one of the events I'm having, but you cannot change the systems that are designed to cause people to lose out, and because people will not serve a God that allows them not to prosper. Mm-hmm. And so if there's no desire and the systems are laid against, and you're not trying to change them for all people, then your ministry really does. I mean, when he talks about going into the earth, he's talking about to preach the gospel. What he's doing is what you're doing as it relates to property, that is a ministry. Yeah. That is your kingdom assignment. And so whatever vocation you have, we need ministers in that who not just praying for us, but praying about the systems changing and showing people that I just left of thinking that there's a king and queen in all of us. And we particularly have the ability to make change. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so before we go, you got to tell us about this Black Business Expo and convention that's happening in August. So tell us about that. All right. So the Black Business Expo and convention is, again, in August 28th, 29th, and 30th. August is National Black Business Month. Okay. And it is to be an ecosystem where you have persons that will teach about business, whether it's how to get capital or how do you do branding, or AI, HR, all the services that are out there free, you know, that we could do. But then there's also real life experiences. You and your husband being both leaders and entrepreneurs, and then you're married and you have different EIN numbers.
Correct.
But so we're doing, one of the segments that we're doing is from bedroom to boardroom, in which you and your husband will participate. So we want some real life stuff as well. Mompreneurs, they're mothers who kids are doing it and they have to quit their job because the kids doing so well. So a lot of it, it's not a cookie cutter event. It's like nothing that the capital region, which is 9 parishes. Then we have vendors which will be selling things. So often people know about pop-ups, but they don't know about expos. And then we have exhibitors. You're not selling a product where there's immediate a transfer of services. A transfer of funding for a product, but you have services that you're providing. And it's so funny, people depend so heavily on social media, which definitely goes far. But I'll see a post from a chef, and the next post saying an ISO for a chef. So there's no connectivity. But if you are a chef, or you're a real estate agent, or you have a business where you clean houses and you have a booth, I come meet you, I'm gonna remember you because of that conversation. But I may not remember with scrolling down Facebook. So we have vendors, we have expos. The 3 events to make things go quicker. Friday night, we have the Black Business Insiders Torch Awards and Gala. And that's a formal affair where we will identify 17 industries, not individuals, but nonprofits, but companies, businesses that that will represent certain spectrums of the community.
Okay.
And then I'll just keep moving. Then the entire 10 to 6 Saturday is the expo and convention where you see everything live in entertainment. We do have a spotlight luncheon with a 14-year domestic violence survivor that was also a beautician and who never was able to take her revenue home. So she had a slave. She was mistreated at home. And we are actually having a gallery where we show, I actually had access to the pictures that the police took of her injuries. And so we're going to have a gallery of all of her injuries, which she looked like somebody that was on Roots. And you're going to see her today, and she'll share her story. That night, Nephew Tommy for the Steve Harvey Show, we have a comedy show at the arena. Those tickets are through Ticketmaster, all these others through Eventbrite. Then Saturday morning is a bruncheon. Diaspora Marketplace, Ministry Marketplace, where again you're gonna have persons that are in business and also in ministry talk about, first of all, the desire to take over. We really supposed to be like in Eden.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be taking over as believers. They don't supposed to take over us. We're supposed to take over them. But then, so inspiration, persons that are in ministry, also vocation in the marketplace, good food, a marketplace prophet that is coming from Jacksonville, that her and her team probably could prophesize to everybody in the room with accuracy. And it really does make a difference whether people believe it or not.
Yeah.
Like I said, one word from the Lord.
That's all you need.
One word.
And that is going to be on Sunday.
That's on Sunday
okay.
at 12 noon. Yeah.
Okay, so Friday is the award show.
Yes.
Saturday is the expo. Saturday night is the comedy show.
Yes.
And Sunday is the prophetic.
That's correct.
Brunch. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
so
you.
if people want to attend, they can go to
Eventbrite.
Okay.
Eventbrite under Black Business Insiders. We're on Linktree, the website www.blackbusinessinsiders.com. You can email me at blackbusinessinsidersexpo@gmail. Phone number 225-778-1202. If you don't remember anything else, just call me 225-778-1202.
Yeah.
And we're of course on social media under Black Business Insiders.
Awesome.
Yes.
So to look in the camera and tell the people that are interested in coming, I want to know more. Just give them a short I guess, a recap or summary, should I say,
Okay.
of what to expect at that event.
Okay. Expect information that will empower you as an individual, as a business, as an entrepreneur, as a nonprofit, as a CEO, as a regular. It is free and open to the public. So bring the entire family. Exposure is something that does not have an age beginning or leaving. You will have vendors, exhibitors, speakers, workshops, everything. Live entertainment, line dancing, food, everything.
Did I hear you say the expo, like during the day on Saturday, is free?
Oh yeah, the expo and the convention is free.
So y'all, we have to go.
Yeah,
That type of
it's free.
information is available and it doesn't cost you anything but
Right.
your time, and it is worth it. So
Right.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
As
So
a-
you know, the first thing you do with anything is use with Secretary of State. So representatives from Secretary of State will be there. A lot of times people don't know how to retire. If that's all they've done, how do you transition? You know, if you stop working, does the money stop? And so a lot of people don't know that life insurance is not just for when you die, but you can have life insurance and other insurances if you get hurt. The money doesn't stop. Just a lot.
Disability coverage,
Yeah, stability coverage.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Shauna, thank you so much. This
Thank
has
you.
been some great information that you shared with us. I love what you're doing. Keep making an impact.
Thank you.
Keep building your legacy. And I know you keep mentioning that you started late in life. Starting late is better than never starting at
I
all.
agree.
So kudos to you for even considering starting at a more age of
Mature age.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So thank you all for joining another episode of the Legacy Discussions podcast, where we leave legacies and not liabilities. And get your tickets reserved to the Black Business Expo and Convention at the River Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, August 28th through 30th. You need to be there. And share this episode. This was good. This was some really good information. All right, y'all. See you on the next show.